Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning. Welcome to a Monday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Got a lot to talk about today. We'll kick it off here in just a minute with JC. And then we're going to have David Waters from Gators Breakdown, does a tremendous job with his podcast, does a lot of recruiting. Gators picked up some more recruits over the weekend. So all the people have been bitching and complaining. They're still going to bitch and complain. How about that? JC, welcome. You're on the Titan MR hotline.
Yeah, sir. Just dodging the raindrops as we go through this time of year, brother. But still, getting ready here. What are we inside of 70 days, 60-something days until college football kicks off? Excited about that. Yesterday, QB, we had some pretty good golf on television as they get ready for the British Open this coming week. Your favorite golfer on earth won the Scottish Open. And you didn't pick him. And then
he's won 3 straight events, and he's played really, really well. And I don't remember if I mentioned this on the program. Maybe I did. Did I mention last week that I had played at the Renaissance Club?
You did. You did mention it.
So what I forgot was, as I was watching the telecast, I couldn't remember if I went over there in 2007, 2008, 2009. I can't remember. It all goes together. But it opened in 2008. Okay. So we were there. They had none of those big structures where people were staying, clubhouse. It was just like a trailer. We were one of the first events, our first people to ever play it. And like I told you, it was one of my most fun golf trips ever, obviously. Yeah. But the weather, by each hole, I had to change clothes. And what I forgot was Muirfield, which I told you I played, literally like this old picket fence. Not a picket fence over in Scotland. Some kind of old fence like divides the Renaissance Club and there. And, speaking of golf, it's the big weekend. It's the British Open, and we're going to talk golf. So if you don't like golf, you can tune out. David Waters will be here talking Gator recruiting at 8:30. But
okay, great.
You know who my new favorite golfer is?
I don't. Who's that?
Max Homa.
Yeah, you like him? Why is that?
Well, I love his demeanor as he was in the hunt yesterday, and as he's walking from one hole to the other, he has the little young lady who is the Dottie Pepper of the, from Scotland, talking to him. He's just talking to her during the tournament as they're walking to the next tee box. But after he played his round, either Friday or Saturday, he went and played 18 more holes at North Birtwick. I can't remember. I think it's it's like the second or oldest golf club in America, in the world. But what's great about that is I remember, JC, I played almost 72 holes one day when I was there walking. Okay. Wow. You don't ride in carts because the sun comes up at like 4 a.m. So you can tee off at like 6 a.m. Yeah. The sun doesn't go down till like 11:45 at night. I don't know how people sleep in Scotland. Because literally it's 11:30 at night and you can be playing golf.
Yeah, that's nuts. And then, it's just the opposite when it's wintertime. It's so dark there probably during the wintertime that you never get to do anything. So that is odd. Yeah, it's crazy. I loved also seeing on the other side of the pond, our boy Trey Mullinax, who I picked.
Your guy.
And your guy, Kevin Streelman, who was one stroke back coming second. Man, I mean, that was some really incredible golf. Even though, did you see what the final score was? His final score?
I told you they're going to shoot 1 million under par.
26 under par.
Yeah.
So, wow, man. I mean, it's like, what is this? So, that's still putting a golf ball in a golf hole, and 26 under par averages out to 7 under every day almost. But anyhow, that was some good stuff. Good playing. Yesterday when it's raining here in Gainesville, what else you got to do in the clubhouse while you're waiting for the rain to go away than to watch golf? So we saw some good golf yesterday. So that's cool. Also, QB, the Boston Red Sox this weekend acted like they had just won the American League pennant as they sit 15 games behind the Yankees and split a home series with the Yankees by scoring 9 unanswered runs last night to win. Aaron Boone getting tossed. It was, Yankees, Red Sox. That was some entertainment for you if you like baseball. But lo and behold, this little team right here, who's been the biggest loser in baseball over the last 2 decades for all accounts and purposes, they've won something like 9 straight games. The Baltimore Orioles are trying to play themselves into a wild card spot, if you could imagine that. So baseball, I think, is interesting. I think the third wild card matters, and I like, some of the teams that we don't talk about or see actually have a chance for the postseason with the third wild card team. So we'll see. I don't know. The Yankees is still theirs to lose, but Houston is I think the team that could give them the biggest trouble in the postseason.
Switching gears. I don't know if people saw this, but I'm flipping through the channels yesterday.
Okay. Yeah.
And I go to ESPN2, and there is a national championship game being played at the home of the in Canton, Ohio, where they play the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
It's women's professional tackle football.
I did not see that.
It was dude. I could not believe it. I mean, these chicks, there were some big girls now on the O&D line, but these chicks were just pounding each other.
Oh my God.
But it was legitimate tackle football.
Good.
They looked like dudes in their uniforms, except the ponytails were hanging out. But I could not believe what I was watching. I don't know if anybody else saw that. I thought it was a joke for a minute, but I did not know they played real tackle football. So the Boston Renegades beat the Minnesota Vixen, and the Renegades have won like 3 straight national titles in women's.
I didn't even know that. I had no idea there was an organized league for this. I really did not.
But JC, if you were just flipping through the channels, you would have thought it was dudes playing, because think about it. Even if a chick dresses up in a football uniform and has a helmet on and stuff, you can't tell if it's a girl or not.
Right.
But
you're right. Yeah. But how fast did the game move, though? I mean, how fast was?
Well, the passing was not very good. They threw a lot of wide receiver screens and stuff like that, but they ran a lot of misdirections in the backfield. Andy says, Shane, this is a downtime in sports. Women's tackle football is happening. Dude, I'm telling you, I couldn't believe it. I was shocked.
So were the coaches men or women on the sideline?
Men coaches. Men
coaches and women playing football.
Yeah, the Boston, what'd I say their name was? The Boston what?
I don't know. I remember the Minnesota.
I just said the Minnesota Vixen and the Boston whatever. But anyway, the Boston scored on like this reverse sweep, and you would have loved it, JC. They had 5 dudes like at the Patriots game dressed up in their little outfits shooting the guns off when they scored. The Renegades. They're the Renegades.
Well, hey man, why not? They're representing Boston, baby. So they won the championship. Was that a championship game of some sort? What was that?
Yes, it was the national championship game. So they were 8-0, and the other team was 6-2, and that was like their 3rd straight. I only watched about 2 series.
I had no idea. Wow, it
was unbelievable. Something else that came out, a screenshot here from Sports Illustrated. I didn't know Sports Illustrated was still in business.
No,
Greg, they were not wearing lingerie. They were dressed up in full gear, chin straps buckled. You would have thought. I text a friend of mine. She says, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Those are girls." She goes, "She couldn't even. She couldn't believe there were girls playing." So, all right.
I tell you,
Sports Illustrated came out with their projections of the SEC this year. Is Sports Illustrated still in business? Obviously.
Yeah. It's all online now. Obviously, you have to subscribe. But Andy writes for him. Yeah, he's part of the Athletic. He also writes SI. Isn't your guy Ross Dellinger Sports Illustrated?
Okay. All right. So anyway, the projections in the West.
Is it Ross Dellinger part of Sports Illustrated? He's your guy, right?
That I don't know. Okay. Back to the projections. You can Google that. They have Alabama going undefeated, one in the West. They have Arkansas and Mississippi State tying for 2nd at 9-3.
Would not surprise me.
Ole Miss and A&M at 8-4, LSU at 6-6, and Auburn at 4-8.
Yeah.
In the East, this blows my mind. They got Georgia going 11-1. I don't know who they're going to lose to. Kentucky at 9-3, Tennessee at 9-3.
Wow.
South Carolina at 8-4.
Wow.
The Gators at 6-6, Missouri 4-8, and Vandy at 3-9.
Well, what about that is a surprise to you?
I guess it's just hard for me to believe, and I know we're not a very good football team, but it's still hard for me to believe to look at this, JC, and see Florida at 6-6 with South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Georgia all ahead. This is all projected.
You saw that last year?
It's hard to swallow, I guess.
I get it, but that's what you saw last year. It happened not very long ago. Now, listen. I mean, the problem with Florida, and I think it'll be fixed, is depth. I believe that'll be the case. The schedule also does not work in Florida's favor. If you look at the first two games, it is not inconceivable. Although I hope it's unlikely and doesn't happen, but it is not inconceivable to see them go 0-2 to start the season. So, I mean, even though the games are in the swamp, that's all wonderful and good. It's all about Anthony Richardson. Is he good enough to win a game on his own against those two teams coming in here? So I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll talk about it as we get closer in August, and a month from now, that's all we're going to probably talk about. But none of that is a surprise to me. I am somewhat thinking that, I don't know who's going to be Georgia in the East. Maybe they should have a bad day, and South Carolina trips along.
Well, it doesn't say an East team has to beat them. It just says they're going to have one loss.
Yeah, but I don't think they're playing anybody difficult in the West. That's the only thing. They don't play A&M. They don't play Alabama. Mississippi State at 9-3 is something to think about because that quarterback is really in line and in tune with what Mike Leach does now. I think it's taken a while. The team is comfortable with what they're trying to do offensively, and you're going to see a lot of points go on the board, I think, in Starkville. I do think Auburn is probably the gum licker off the ground in that division because I don't see any reason why you would think Auburn's going to be special this year. They don't have a quarterback situation that's pretty clear either. So that doesn't surprise me. And, it's a tough division. All of it is tough. It's a tough league. I think you've got more better teams than more poorer teams. And Arkansas is a physical type of team that's going to be hard to deal with because of the way they play football. It's a physical game. It's going to wear you out. And if you have a back-to-back with somebody like Arkansas and Alabama on your schedule, good luck. That's a tough 2 weeks right there.
Bruce Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visitogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. Speaking with JC on the Titan MR hotline, we'll have David Waters from Gators Breakdown talking recruiting in the second half of the show. Text on the Titan MR text line from Barrow says, I know y'all aren't NASCAR fans, but how about the 9 car winning in Atlanta yesterday? Yep, old Chase Elliott, the 9 car. That's the only car I root for.
Can you believe I actually spent 2 hours in the morning watching that Wimbledon? And it was good tennis, but this guy Kyrgios is a psychotic lunatic out there on the court, talking to himself, yelling at people in the box. Could you imagine this? Spending your day in London in his box and having him look back at you and screaming at you to do something right. I would have got my ass straight up and walked right out of that place and gone to Piccadilly Circus and told Nick, you can catch me later, bro. Because it was such a sideshow that was so antithetical to what him and Djokovic were doing on the court. And he's got so much talent, and he's got such a mental disability, it seems like, when he's trying to play tennis. It was hard to watch, bro. He lost in 4 sets. It was close in the first and fourth set, but God, it was hard to watch. And Djokovic, here he is coming to what's he got, 21 something Grand Slams. He's going to end up with the most of all of them because he's the youngest.
The greatest tennis player of all time?
I say he is. I don't know. I mean, some people have argued with me that, in his prime, could so-and-so beat and so-and-so. All of that is hard to compare because I think you win most of your Grand Slam events in your prime.
It's the same argument people have with
that stuff.
I don't know how Tiger, I don't know how good Tiger would be. Now look, this may be a dumb statement, but I don't think the talent on tour was what it is now.
Oh, absolutely not. It wasn't.
Wasn't even close.
But the cultural difference and the societal differences that era played in compared to this era, it makes it literally impossible to compare because, I mean, we're talking about guys that that basically flew coach. We're talking about guys that didn't have nutrition, didn't have a team behind them. They didn't have the equipment. They didn't have a lot of the things that players do today. And we don't know how good those players today would have been back in that generation, having to live that type of life back then, playing with that type of equipment, blah, 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 blah. These arguments are such a waste of time. I never have them. But I would say the Joker is the best ever because, I mean, when I look at results, it's a result-driven business. And his are the best. Now, did Rafael Nadal win more at the French Open because it's clay? Sure he did. But totality of it all, Grand Slam events is what matters in tennis to me, not Indian Hills or Indian Wells or whatever happens in San Diego. So I think he is, and I think it's going to make the U.S. Open really somewhat anticlimactic and almost, I wouldn't say illegitimate, but not a true Grand Slam without the best player in the world who's not allowed to come into the country because he's unvaccinated. All he's got to do, QB, is fly to Mexico, walk across the Rio Grande, and his ass will be found somewhere in America, and then he can just hop a bus or a plane and go to New York and play.
Well, they still won't let him play because they know he ain't vaccinated. They're not going to let him in the gates.
Well, I mean, he can get in the country if he wants to, bro. It's not a big deal.
Dan says the women's championship was good. The winner was 100-1 to start Wimbledon.
I couldn't even pronounce her name. I have no idea who she is, but I thought Simona Halep would win. She was a former winner, but she didn't.
Yeah. Facebook Live brought to you by Melton Law here. John says, if Florida cuts down on the penalties and wins the turnover battle, they can be good. Not Atlanta good, but much improved. I think Napier makes Florida a much more disciplined team this year. I agree with that 100%. You're going to see a running football team. You're going to see a team that plays field position. You're going to see a team that protects the football, doesn't have dumb penalties. And
yeah. But
it's going to be a formula that people don't like initially, but it's the only way we're going to be able to compete.
Do you think people are going to get tired of 8 punts a game or 7 punts in a game?
Well, hopefully we're getting first downs and we're not punting.
I think, yeah, that's the hope, right? I mean,
yeah. So, JC, here's my thing.
It's all up to you.
You know, you get 4 downs to get a first down. You only have to go 10 yards. So if you can get 3 yards per play, you can go for it on 4th down. You only got a yard to go with a big quarterback. So there you go.
The math is impeccable, QB. That's excellent.
Yes,
that's wonderful. I just hope, like I said, they need a good kicker. If you're going to play the field position game, you have to have a good punter. You have to have a good field goal kicker because sometimes on the 36-yard line, you might try that 52-yarder. And, you know, that's okay. If Florida can get points, like we always say, QB, every drive that ends in a kick is a good thing.
Yes, no doubt about it. Dan says, how's the kicking game going to be this year?
Right, well, that's what we just talked about.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know.
We don't know that. But that's going to be important, I think. And, you know, look, it's not going to be a secret. If Florida's running the ball 70% of the time, defense is going to have a plan for it. So, you know, these D coordinators they're not idiots. But Richardson's a special player, and, you know, he'll throw some balls down the field. But you're right. It's going to be – that's how it's going to be this year, I think.
JC, since we don't have a show on Wednesday –
okay.
I just realized we have to do the Peachland Dental.
You got me off track. I
realized that.
Yeah, I picked the winner.
So we're going to go ahead and do that real quick. We got the Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice of dentistry in Port Charlotte surrounding areas. Visit peachlanddental.com. It is what it is. So
I can tell you, I'm not taking Mark Calcavecchia, Stuart Sink, or Darren Clark, the former champions. I will not take John Daly, David Duval, or Ernie Els, who are also former champions. Padraig Harrington, Zach Johnson, Paul Lowry are also former champions, as are Shane Lowry, Royal McIlroy, and Phil Mickelson. I did not know Francesco Molinari won, but now I do remember that. So, okay, I get first pick since you threw this at me and since I picked the winner last week in the Barbasol, okay? I'm going with Colin Morikawa. That is my first pick. Yep, thank you.
You know what was amazing is this weekend, you know, you had like 12 of the top 15, 20 players in the world playing in the Scottish Open. Some of these dudes shot enormous numbers. It was crazy, like John Rahm and some of them. I'm going to go with Matt Fitzpatrick. I mean, he played decent this weekend. We're going to see if he can win the another major, but his game is suited for this.
Did you see Jordan Spieth hit a a ball on a 154-yard par 3 yesterday, about 180. It just that I guess it's a windy type of situation. I couldn't believe it. He made a double bogey on the 12th hole it was yesterday, I think, or par 3, 154 yards. He hit it almost in the ocean. All right, I'm going to go with.
Was it the Perth? What do they call that thing? The Perth?
Yeah, I don't know.
You're the geography guy.
I know. This course I'm not familiar with.
It's not. No. I'm talking about the body of water.
Oh no, the Firth of
the Firth.
The Firth.
Whatever it's Perth, whatever.
Firth.
So do you know how long it takes for them to get from one side to the other of that by helicopter?
No, how long?
So see, these are things you learn here.
So
for the tour players that can't afford the helicopter ride, they got to get in one of those little cars over there, and the roads over there are horrible, by the way.
They are bad. Yeah.
The food and the roads are just god awful in Scotland. It's like an 85-mile ride by car.
Yeah.
It's a 12-minute helicopter ride across.
Yeah. Well, listen, that's the preferred mode of transportation, I would say. It might be a little bumpy up there in the wind, but you get there quicker. It's amazing, too. You just said something about the weather, the food, whatever, the roads. And people spend $5,000 to try to get there as fast as they can to play golf. But anyhow, QB, I don't know. I love the British Open. This course in St. Andrews, probably of all the courses.
It's right here. I'm there. I'm sitting right here.
And look at how wide that fairway is on 18 and number 1 there. That's 1 in 18 behind you. So I think it's the easiest of the courses on the rotation. I do think that Tiger Woods has killed that course when he was healthy. He'll be in the field this weekend. I just don't think his game is ready to go. So I'm going to take another American though. I'm going to take 2 Americans and 1 foreign player, 1 British player. And I've already taken Morikawa. He's an American. The other one I'm going to take is Patrick Cantlay. I like the way he played this weekend. If he gets that putter going on a course like St. Andrews, I see him doing damage on that course. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good pick. He did play well. I love Cantlay. He's probably one of the best putters on tour. But you don't have to be a great putter because they don't – the speed of the greens are like 10 because they're so worried about the wind and stuff. So, we'll see. Okay, my second pick is going to be this is interesting. I'm trying to find the list of players here. It's so early in the week, I don't even have the damn list.
I know.
Give me I'm gonna stay with the hottest guy out there right now. I'm going with the X-Man, Xander.
Yeah, he's winning, no doubt about it. Solid as hell player. Boy, is he good. I've taken Zalatoris in the last 2 majors, and he's come in second. And I'd love to take him again, but I just think the environment is going to be different for him. I don't know if he's. I mean, he could win this easily, but instead, I'm going to take. And I hate taking this guy because he's always close and he never wins, but he might break through, and that's Tommy Fleetwood in St. Andrews. He'd be the home crowd favorite. I got to take some British player in this tournament, so I'm going to go with him, Cantlay, and whoever I picked there a minute ago.
You got Morikawa, Cantlay, Fleetwood,
right?
And I got Fitzpatrick, Xander, and I'm laying the chalk this week. I don't know if I want Scheffler or Zalatoris, but I'm going to go with Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah,
he was horrible. He was horrible this week.
Yeah, he's great though. He's fantastic. He'll be this golfer of the year, I think, and it's well deserving. I really know Zalatoris is going to win it one of these days, but I think next year will be his time. I don't think he's winning this, but if he does, I'll be happy for him. But we got to remind each other. Or since there's no show on Wednesday, we've got to remind each other on Friday morning who we took. So just
I have it written down.
Okay, so that'll be good. We'll see how we're doing. It'll be in the middle of the second round when we come back on the air, because it'll be 1 o'clock over there, and they'll be playing when we hit the airwaves on Friday. So that's cool.
Yeah, long week over here, and at the golf course at St. Andrews. Marissa asked JC on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mountain Lawn. We're going to get to David Waters here in just a second. JC, did you run any ladders this weekend? I embraced QB's advice. I'm 3 days in practicing the drill, and dang, my heart rate went super high.
Yeah, no, no. you were supposed to give me the information on the equipment here or whatever.
Well, we'll have to
You were
order
gonna
you a
tell me-
ladder,
you're gonna-
JC.
Huh?
We'll have to
What?
order you a ladder.
Yeah, I need to get a ladder. Are they expensive? They can't be. So I'm going to do that.
We're going to charge you double though.
I'm going to do it. I'm getting under 200 pounds. By God, I'm going to get under 200 pounds. I mean, I sweat like a pig this weekend doing stuff, playing tennis, golf. Yeah, that's my thing. Tennis is the best exercise I can get right now. It is. Golf, it's not exercise, but it's outdoors. It's healthy. It's good for you unless you drink a 12 pack and you're trying to play golf. But other than that, it tests the skill levels, and that's important for you. But tennis is the physical thing I need, and I guess the ladder thing will be just great for me. And then I'll get under 200 pounds.
Yeah. Tony says he's taking Spieth, Justin Thomas, and Tommy Fleetwood.
I like that. I don't know. I mean, Spieth has won this.
Spieth missed a putt yesterday about this far.
He's done this kind of thing. And, he won a tournament that he missed one of those two in a previous round, and he still ended up winning. I think it was out west. But he's, when he won his third major, I went on there and said he'll beat Jack's record because of his age. And now, as he's aging, he's not winning them anymore. So I guess it's just getting harder for him, or he's just not getting better.
I personally think there's so many good players on the PGA Tour now that it's hard for somebody to win. So, I mean, think about what Scotty Scheffler did earlier in the year. Yeah. He had a run like nobody's ever had. Oh, yeah. Well, if Xander wins the British Open, goes from winning the Travelers, winning that big fancy Pro-Am there, winning the Scottish Open, winning the British Open. I mean, anyway, it's crazy. It's just too much talent on the.
And this course it's there for the taking unless the weather gets crazy bad, right? And if the weather is benign, I guess that's a good word, then they'll kill this course. I mean, they just will. There's just nothing there that I think 17 is the really only hard hole, the road hole that where you hit it over the hotel with the driver, then you have a tough shot coming in. That's the hardest hole, I think, on the whole course. But that's 17. You can do a lot of damage before 17. It's one of those courses that goes out and back. So, the wind can change dramatically on one 9 compared to the other. Or
that's what I just talked about. When I was over there playing the Renaissance Club,
it
literally was like yesterday, 75 degrees going one way. Yeah. Turn around. It was raining sideways and about 55 degrees.
Weather's the only defense that course has, I think, against these players. And the ones who play in weather are going to be the ones who benefit from that and play the best. I don't know if the guys we picked are weather guys, but I also don't know if the weather's going to be bad, QB. And if it's not bad, they're going to light this place up. It's going to be in the teens.
Yeah, because it's short. It's very short.
And the greens are massively huge. All you got to do is 2-putt them. And that's a lot. That's not easy, but this is the easiest course on the rotation unless the weather bites them. And I don't know if that'll happen.
Yeah. So all right, JC, good stuff as always. We got our British Open picks. I'll be flying home because I got to get to Atlanta next week for SEC Media Days.
Media Days. When does that start? Real quick, is that on Monday or no?
I think it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe. Man. I don't know if it's Monday or not. We'll check and see, but we'll be coming to you live. Somehow live from Media Days.
Is there a show Wednesday? There's not a show Wednesday.
No, dude. We're no Wednesdays until August 17th.
Understood. I'll see you Friday, guys.
All right, that's JC Johnson on the Titan More Hotline. Going to take a timeout. We're going to come back, get to a bunch of these questions and texts with David Waters from Gators Breakdown, talking Gator recruiting. You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okito America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration Points, where the Gators go to celebrate. With premium brands like Escape Apology, Sushi Hana, Regal Cinemas, Kilwin's, Le Macaron, Prime and Pearl, and the HBC's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, where every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 2:30, you can get the hottest brunch in town. We'll see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators go to celebrate. We're going to go back to the Titan MR hotline. We're going to be joined by David Waters from Gators Breakdown. You can follow Dave on Twitter at GatorDave_SEC. Good morning, Dave. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I wanted to bring you on. You do a tremendous job with your show. You follow a lot of recruiting. We don't do a whole lot of recruiting talk on my show. I got to see them in a uniform before we start talking about them. But we got a Facebook Live here real quick from John. He says, David, love your work and your podcast. Do you see Stokes, Webb, and Denson flipping Pup Howard to Florida?
That's a good one because I'm a little close to Pup Howard there, so that's a good question. I don't see it. He's one of those kids that I think he's going to stick with his commitment. He's one of the smartest players I've ever covered. One of the smartest players I've got to know. Shane, I have a friend who tailgates with us every Saturday for Florida home games. He's Howard's trainer at Jackson here in Jacksonville. So very close to him. I've got to know him a good bit over the last year or so, and that's just one I don't see Florida flipping in the end. I think when he made his decision set on South Carolina, I think that was just his decision. And I was hoping Mike Peterson would be the difference coming over from South Carolina and having that previous relationship with Howard and bringing it over to Florida. But he has so many good relationships over there at South Carolina, a deep relationship with so many people on that staff. So I won't say a 0% chance. If South Carolina's staff somehow gets obliterated in the offseason, then maybe that can happen. But I think if South Carolina's staff stays intact, I think Howard, I think he may listen now. But when it's all said and done, I think he's just the type of kid who's going to just stick with that commitment.
Yeah, a lot of things can happen in a year.
Yeah.
These kids, you never know. Andy has a question on Facebook Live brought to you by Melvin Law. David, do you think Marcus Stokes will start a Game 1 season opener during his Gator career? Marcus Stokes is the quarterback out of Nice who flipped from Penn State. Boy, that's hard to say, isn't it?
Which one?
Will he ever start, be the starter? I mean,
yeah, he's definitely not a day one guy. He's not. If Anthony Richardson comes in, has a successful season, and Stokes comes in as a freshman next year, he's not that type of quarterback. He's going to need some development. He's going to need some time to go along there. He's got a very live arm, very raw arm, not a lot of experience in high school, so I don't think he's just instant contributor. But Shane, yeah, I agree. I don't know who else Florida's going to get down the road if they get that 5-star in the 2024 cycle. Is that the guy who comes in day one and just kind of takes over from there? I'd love to say he is. I'm partial to Nice kids and Jacksonville area kids just because that's where I'm at. I'm hoping he goes to Florida, has a lot of success. It's hard for me to say if he'll be a starter at some point. If I had to say it, I'll say yeah. I think he probably gets a year or two, probably toward the end of his career there. But I mean, he's so creative with what he can do with the ball. It's kind of Johnny Manziel-esque. I'm not saying he is Johnny Manziel, but if you want to compare how some of his creativity is with his legs and different arm angles and all that, then he's that type of quarterback. So I'll lean yeah, but it won't be early in his career.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to predict with quarterbacks because only one dude can play.
Right.
And receivers, you can play 5 at a time if you need to. And with the transfer portal these days too, if if somebody pops in the portal that a coach wants, they're going to go get that experienced guy. So, talk to us a little bit. Obviously, with with the quarterback out of Nice. They got a kid out of Bartram Trail and a kid out of Trinity Christian, which it's been a while, it seems like, that the Gators have really tapped into that Jacksonville market. Do you think those three players, we talked a little bit about the quarterback, the other two, will they have a big factor when they get here in the orange and blue?
I believe Webb will at running back, and we'll get to see a lot more of him this fall. He went on a tear to help Trinity Christian win that state title last year. He was injured with a hamstring, but came on at the end of the year and just really kind of catapulted Trinity Christian to win that state championship there. So Webb, he would definitely be a contributor for this Gator team, and I think Denson will as well. He's very versatile. He can play outside corner. He can play nickel, which is where I think he told me, that's where the staff sees him. They see him as that inside corner, but he can play outside if need be. So he's so versatile. He can probably play safety too. He's going to be playing a little bit of safety for Barton Trail coming up this fall, just so he tells us so he can get in the action a little bit. He goes, teams throw away from him now. He doesn't. It's kind of boring out there now because there's a lot of film on him. They know how good he is, so they throw away from him. So he's going to try and play some safety to get involved in the defense a little bit more. So he's so versatile. He's definitely going to be a contributor down the road for Patrick Toney and Corey Raymond back there on the back end of that defense. So yeah, Shane, you mentioned Florida's had a lot of issues in the Jacksonville area, issues they shouldn't have had on the recruiting front for years now. And I mean, don't get me wrong, they've sprinkled here and there. I mean, Marcus Burke also come from Trinity Christian. Dan Muller was able to get. So they've gotten guys. It's just not the top level guys and not the number that you'd like to see them get when it was all said and done. So definitely starting with Jack Pyburn, Billy Napier got last from Bowles the last cycle, and then three guys so far now. Don't get me wrong, it didn't start off so good. Where Florida needs some help along the offensive line. Roger Kearney committed to FSU. And then we bring up Pup Howard, who committed to South Carolina. And then the floodgates open for Billy Napier and with these three kids that we just talked about there for this recruiting class. So, it's getting better. And then we'll see Jordan Hall. He's the next one, defensive lineman from West Side. He's a top 150 player right there along the defensive lineman. There was a highlight yesterday where him just bowling over an offensive lineman in some camp setting. So Jordan Hall, he's going to be the next big one from Jacksonville to watch out for. It looks to be a Florida State, Georgia battle there.
Is he a 2023 kid?
Yeah, he's a 23 kid. Probably one. I know the staff loves him, might even be their top defensive lineman, but he's one of the top defensive tackles in the country.
Another Facebook Live here brought to you by Mellon Law from Joseph says, Kermani McLean, Buzz, has quieted down. Are we still in good shape with him?
I'll say when it's all said and done, Shane, that the top cornerback in the country will be a Gator. I think it works out for Florida that he's in the class in the end. From what I can gather, I think if signing day was right now, I think he'd choose Florida. Can things change? Absolutely, but I'll still stick to my guns whenever he decides to do it. I'm hearing August might be the time, but that can kind of change. But I think when it's all said and done, he'll be in orange and blue.
They just got a verbal commitment from a kid down in Tampa this past weekend. What do you know about him?
Eugene Wilson, wide receiver. He's an athlete. He plays both sides, but he'll be a receiver for the Gators. He's the highest ranked player in the class right now. He's a top 150 player, and speed and space is the way my group talks about this kid. And you can go watch his highlights. He separates from defenders. He can catch a screen pass and outrun everybody. He's just a playmaker, and he'll be. And we've discussed, and then Shane, I think I've heard it on your show too. Florida needs all the help they can get in the big play department, on offense and special teams. So I think Eugene Wilson is going to come in and might even be an instant contributor on special teams. That punt return, kick return, he'll be a guy, I think, even as a freshman who can make his way in there. And then I don't think it'll take him long to get on the field either, because he is the type of player Florida doesn't have right now. Florida's got plenty of the big-bodied possession receiver types, but they need somebody like, I won't say Kadarius Toney light, because Wilson's 5'11", 165. He's not the size of Kadarius Toney, but he
Quasi Green.
There you go. He brings a lot of just get the ball in his hands, and he can try and make something happen.
Yeah, that's what we're missing. We got, like you said, I've said it all along. We got those big, rangy guys. I need a dude that we can throw it to, make a bunch of people miss, and score.
Yeah, exactly.
Score.
Yep.
John says here on Facebook Live, pretty good question here. Dave, what do you make of such a heated rivalry between Florida and Miami fan bases? These teams don't even play each other annually. Who is going to be the better long-term coach, Cristobal or Napier?
Ooh. For Cristobal, like him recruiting well was never a question for me. He was always going to recruit well. Now, of course, the NIL opportunities that Miami brings along with it probably elevated a little bit faster than what I thought would happen there. But he was always going to recruit well at Miami. I mean, if he recruited well at Oregon with very little, roots there in the Northwest, then he was going to recruit well at Miami, where he has a lot of background, a lot of history in the South Florida area. So, but I think as a coach, Billy Napier is probably better there. May not recruit as well, maybe just a hair behind. So I see a lot of. I mean, these two teams are going to play each other in 24 and 25, so we'll get an early look in their tenures when they play each other for what it looks like. But I think it'll be pretty equal there. I don't see Cristobal necessarily breaking through and just dominating the ACC like we saw Dabo do at Clemson. But I do think they'll be more competitive in the ACC and compete for conference titles. And then I think Billy Napier will get Florida up to that point as well. So they'll be pretty close there. I'll still say, and probably my orange and blue glasses here, Napier will be the better coach. You still might say in the end Cristobal's a better recruiter, but he might disappoint with the results with a lot of better recruiting. But as far as the rivalry goes between the fan bases, and I mean, yeah, we're right. They don't play each other often. I remember being in that game in Orlando in 2019, and you can still feel the hostility there, even though these two teams don't play each other a whole lot. So I think a lot of it is because of that. They don't play each other, so they have to rely on the trolling and the spatting back and forth on social media just because there is no game there. But I think they're going to be playing, like I said, each other coming up in a couple years, and we'll see all these commits that they're fighting over this year. We'll see what that looks like, and I'm sure it'll just heighten the back and forth a bit more.
Yeah, I would lean towards Napier. I'm going to go towards a guy who played quarterback over a guy who was an offensive lineman any day of the week.
Right. And one thing that's helping Cristobal right now, and credit to him, though, he's still using a lot of those players that he recruited at Oregon. Like a lot of his commitments that he's gotten so far, it's because he got in early on at Oregon, and they're coming kind of over with him to Miami a little bit. So I think once Napier kind of just gets settled in the state of Florida, we'll see recruiting pick up even more.
Chris Doering Mortgage, the new mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doering Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. We're speaking with David Waters here from Gators Breakdown. You can follow him on Twitter at GatorDave_SEC. David says here, not David, Joseph asked, David, what do you think of DeQuavius Sorey? Will he be a Gator, scrappy kid from the Big Bend area?
Yeah, I think he will be. That one's kind of been changing by the day, it seems. Not that he's not going to be a Gator commit, but the timeline. At first, I heard it was going to be July 4th, and then the Wednesday after July 4th, and then, okay, maybe it was going to be Friday. So I'm still hearing anytime. I think so. The good story, I think, will still be a Gator. I don't. Apparently, he's waiting on some kind of edit. So that's the inside info there. Whether it be I'm pretty sure it's a video edit because the graphic. I can make a graphic for him right now, Shane, if he really wants to pop for Florida. So that's how that one goes. But the thing about him, he's listed as a receiver. He does play both sides of the ball. I'm hearing he may play safety for the Gators. So that's going to be one of maybe trying to figure out where he fits in, maybe even after he comes. But I'm hearing that they may be leaning safety a bit for him.
Andy has a good question here. Says, David, can you explain your interaction with Gator Collective and how you think they are enhancing the football program? And my question, too, I'm going to have Darren Heitner on later in the week.
Okay.
What people don't understand, so let's just use Marcus Stokes, for example. If he got any kind of money, in any kind of NIL deal to be a Gator, none of that takes place until he signs and is on campus.
Correct.
So it's what I try to tell people. This nonsense about this kid in California going to Tennessee, this kid in California, Rashada going to Miami, they're not getting anything until they get on campus, and we still don't even know if they're actually getting that, because sometimes I think it's enhanced by these agents. But the Gator Collective is what it's supposed to be about, doing appearances, doing radio shows, things of that nature where the kids are compensated, right?
Correct, and I'm in communication with Eddie Rojas and Jen Grosso pretty much daily when it comes to that, and helping them out with promotion and trying to get people to sign up and all that. And so I do have a pretty good relationship with them. And Shane, as you said, yeah, it's now say a player is on a recruiting trip, they can ask about NIL and they can bring up okay. And once they ask about it, they can say, okay, well, here's the Gator Collective. This is what they do. And here's how they're helping the current players. And so these recruits can go talk to Anthony Richardson. They can go talk to Gervon Dexter and see what kind of NIL those guys are getting. And that kind of gives them an idea of, okay, well, here's what a quarterback's getting. Here's what a defensive lineman's getting. And what Billy Napier has really done to begin with the Gator Collective is making sure his current locker room is taken care of, making sure that, the NIL deals for the locker room are there in place. And once those guys are taken care of, it kind of just bleeds over. It will take care of recruiting itself. The recruits will know once they get to the University of Florida, this is the type of NIL package that they can expect. So that's where it goes. And the player appearances, them on podcast, they got one coming up this Sunday in Orlando. I believe Anthony Richardson, Dexter, Lorenzo Lingard are a few that's going to be in attendance there in Orlando. But that's what it is. It's not pay for play. These guys are not just getting the paycheck just to sit there and do nothing. They are doing these appearances. They're signing autographs. They're doing birthday shout outs through text message or whatever. So there's a lot going on, a lot good going on. Is there a lot of shady parts to NIL? Absolutely. And we knew that was going to happen as soon as they announced it. But I will say the Gator Collective, for all I know and all the interaction I have, they're doing it the right way. And the recruiting part will take care of itself. It's not just only taking care of the current players. As I said, the info will bleed over. The recruits know what can happen.
Question here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mello. John says there was something on Twitter about Jordan Addison being pissed because certain promises haven't been kept. I don't know what any of that means.
And Shay, I'll go ahead and let you know. Go ahead and ask Darren Heitner about that when you have him on, because I am in a group chat with him, and he said it wasn't true. And that's the receiver that left Pitt to go to USC, and of course, tampering was going on, or just what? Look, we know tampering was going on. We're not going to be naive about that. But of course, the report is, I think it was Bro Bible or something, come out and said that he's ticked off because USC is not living up to the promises that they were giving him before he came over. So we're going to hear a lot of that. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not sure it's actually true in this case. And Darren knows a lot more than I do about that. But I did hear him or see him speak on that yesterday. He says it wasn't true. So he could probably shed a lot more light on that. But Shane, don't get me wrong. I do think we will hear of Texas A&M maybe down the road, or other schools that I hate to single them out, but of course they're the easy target right now when it comes to that, of players maybe not getting their promises through the NIL world before they became, when they were recruits and before they signed. So that's definitely going to be part of it. And I will say, if we go back to the Gator Collective, every deal that they do is guaranteed. They don't sign a deal. They have their war chest, I guess, if you want to put that together. And when they sign a deal, that deal is guaranteed.
And what they're doing is what NIL is about. What I talk about NIL on my show all the time, Dave. And what I hate about it is basically buying a player, and that's what you hear what Miami is doing. And that's just my opinion. Until a guy is on your roster, it's crazy to me what's going on out there. But as you said, the Gator Collective is taking care of guys when they do interviews. They're doing autograph signings. Things of that nature, and that's what it's all about. All right, last thing.
And one more thing on that, not to be naive here, we still know there's still a traditional quote unquote bag game in college football. It's not Absolutely. All NIL. The bag game is still happening.
Yeah. All right. Before we let you go here, I don't know where the Gator ranking sits right now for the 2023 class, but obviously they've done really well the last week or so. When it's all said and done, we won't know until the guys actually sign on the dotted line. Where do you think this class will rank?
Yeah, they're 20th right now, and I do think some good news will be coming up probably on the receiver front. I say look for Sorey, who could be wide receiver or safety for the Gators, but Andy Jean, another wide receiver to look for, Aiden Mazzell, another wide receiver to look for, too highly ranked. So coming up soon, I think Florida will still shoot up. But in the end, Shane, I think probably at best 7, 8, and then at worst probably around 12. So they'll be in that 8 to 12 range, I think. And I think it sets up well for another climb in the 2024 rankings.
Last thing, because you just brought up a point where you just mentioned a couple of kids that may play receiver, they may play DB. I love when they recruit these dudes that play both ways. I mean, I think back to what, Jaquez Green, Riedel, Ike, they played multiple positions in high school. Now, I know recruiting has changed and guys are specialized, but I just think getting athletes on the field will help us be a better football team.
Not only that, but I see Jaquez talk all the time about also getting guys running track. And a lot of guys like Florida's getting are running track, and they're putting up hellacious numbers running track. So I think that's a big part of it too. Dave,
great stuff, man. Let everybody know when they can watch your show. I don't know. You're not on every night, right?
Not every night, of course. During this time of the year, if there's a commitment, I'll just go live with an episode there. But most of the time, Tuesday, Wednesdays, I'll do at least one episode a week there with my co-host, Will Miles. But, yeah, we're looking at preseason magazines this week. Unless a commitment happens, I'll go live with that. But, Shane, next week, SEC Media Day, so I'll be up in Atlanta covering all that. And we'll have a lot of pure football. We'll get away from recruiting for a few episodes and have pure football talk.
Yeah. I'm going to put you on the spot real quick because I talked to JC before you came on, and I saw a thing that Sports Illustrated came out. They had the Gators going 6-6 this year. Where do you think what do you think our record's going to be?
I'll go 9-3. I think Anthony Richardson has a special season. I think the defense rebounds. Whatever Todd Grantham was doing, that's exactly what it is, whatever he was doing. So I think an improved defense, Anthony Richardson has a special season. I see the Gators going 9-3.
I'll take 9-3 right now.
Yeah, I would. Looking at that schedule, if you got 9 wins, there's a lot of good wins in there.
Yeah, no question. David, great stuff, man. We appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks, Shane.
That's David Waters joining us on the Titan MR Hotline. Take a quick timeout, come back, wrap up this Monday edition.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker M.M. Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Are you in the market to buy or sell your home? Doreen Wiebe, a realtor with Caldwell Banker M.M. Parish, will provide you with fast, friendly, and reliable service. Call her today, 352-562-1411, to help your dreams come true. I want to thank JC and David Waters from Gators Breakdown for joining our program on the Titan MR Hotline. Let's get to This Day in Sports while we get out of here. Brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. Beat the summer heat and schedule your air conditioners tune up today, keeping you chill in the Florida heat far away. Give Comfort Temp a call, 352-376-2366. This Day in Sports in 2012, future Basketball Hall of Famer guard Steve Nash was traded from the Suns to the LA Lakers. I forgot he played for the Lakers. That's brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Hope you enjoyed today's program. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. Have a great day, folks, and we will see you then. Take care.